Welcome to Turning Hard Times to Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really pleased to have with me Peter Tallman. He's the President and CEO of Klondike Gold. It's a company I've been following now for a few years. Peter is a very experienced geologist, over 35 years of experience in the field as an exploration geologist, Canada, Chile, Mexico, and Australia. And he's up there in the wild Yukon right now. You can tell his the wind has been blowing his hair as he's just come into the office to do this interview. And Peter, thank you so much for joining me today.
Jay, it's a pleasure always.
It's really quite a story. Now, you've been working a few years up there, Peter, and we thought maybe you would get the mother load real quick and we'd all, could just put our feet up and go to the Bahamas or something, I suppose. It's never that easy in the mining business, that's for sure. It's been a struggle, but you've learned a lot, and you really are making some progress now, which I think is very interesting. I should tell my viewers that I've selected a couple of companies from my list that I think are just grossly undervalued compared to their upside, and the progress that those companies have been making in recent years. And Klondike is one of a couple of those penny stocks that I think have a lot of good news ahead of them. So, Peter, I should tell our viewers that I do own shares in this company. I recommended it in my newsletter, and that I'm being paid for the cost of production of this interview. That said, as I just said, that I also have selected Klondike personally and own a fair amount in my portfolio so I do sincerely love this story, especially now gaining the insights that Peter and his very, very, very accomplished orogenic geologists have come on to help him understand as well. And so, Peter, I should also say that your shares trade in Canada. I think the symbol is KG. In the US, you can buy it as I have, KDKGF. 235 million shares, and you were trading at about
7 cents US.
0.073 today, I saw. So it gives you a market cap in US money about $17 million. And despite the fact that you have 481,000 shares, so you have we had a little interruption there. I'm not sure what that was all about. 581,000 ounces that you've outlined, but it looks to me as though that's just the start of something much bigger. So let's start out. Today the day is what is today? The 24th of... And you put out a news release today, Peter, and that's the reason I wanted to have you come on here today to talk about it. You just announced that you're starting your exploration program up there in the Yukon on your Klondike property. What are your plans and objectives for this year's drill season?
Plans is always a strong word in exploration, but the objective is to find a whole pile of gold. And I mean, just to recap a little bit, we've been doing this for when you got involved originally, that was 10 years ago. And I liken it as pushing a wet noodle uphill for 10 years. The level of information I started with was nothing. We've done a lot since then. And so from the news release we have today, basically we're announcing that the mob for the drill is going on behind me. So I apologize if the drillers break in right now. But excuse me, what we've done is completely recast the exploration objectives and how we approach it. So we have, as you're aware, we have a 727 square kilometer property, a huge district that has had historically 20+ million ounces of alluvial gold mined from the surface gravels and old-timey things, but there's still people mining today. There's 236 individual placer mines operating within our property today, and they produce something on the order of 30,000 ounces each of these guys. Anyway, so there's gold being extracted. And the problem has always been, where does it come from? We've worked out now finally a structural model, and with the help of a huge, well, with a number of world expert orogenic gold people. We've done a bunch of compilation that says we have high-grade orogenic veins. We have a lot of them all the way through our property. That's great, and our exploration has been all over. What we need to do is focus. And to set this up as a discussion, Newmont, the largest gold mining company in the world, I believe, from a production point of view, produces 5 million ounces of gold per year.
Yeah.
And a major, any kind of major, will look to replace their production from an exploration junior with that kind of endowment. And so basically 5 million ounces is our target for a resource, future resource. We have to go find it. As you say, we have over 500,000 ounces so far, open pittable, and we just need we need more. So what we've done is focus on a 5-kilometer length of our 55-kilometer long property. And if I can share this
Yes,
now, I'll
please.
give you a couple of maps.
Yeah, that would be great.
So,
I think that'll help put it in perspective, Peter, because you put out today in your news release some of those images that really sort of brought it into focus for me, showing that, you know, you've got 581,000 ounces now, but now from just a very small portion of what your target area is this year. So,
and so from a structural point of view, so these are the length of our claim, and we've now mapped a composite major structure. So this is actually, it's a crustal boundary is what it is. And that's 55 kilometers, so 38 miles in length.
wow.
And it goes down through here to there. And where we are is basically the label is standard. It's that dot. And what we're focusing on is this particular little bit, which is about 5 kilometers of length. So 3 miles, it's a significant length. Doesn't look like much on this map. And within all of these creeks, so all the yellowy creeks are producing gold from placer. But, you know, looking a little bit differently, we're still looking at the same length of property. I'm showing you the major structures. Each one of these structures is gold mineralized. And so all these black lines represent something that we should go drill. And what effectively has happened is we have way too much to drill. That's crazy. And we found gold all the way along everywhere that we've looked at. And you can see like everywhere we're finding is high grade gold quartz veins. So an ounce and higher is actually the prize in here. But we have to focus. Like I said, like majors, they want to see 5 million ounces or whatever. If you get to 5 million ounces in a resource with 500,000 ounces of open pit, every mid-tier and major on the planet would be interested in us. So that's my goal as a president, is to get to that so that I can have a Dutch auction amongst all those other people who be interested. Excuse me. So what we've done in the last basically this has come together over this past fall and winter, is looking at it and going, where are our resources? We have a low-grade resource initially, as you said. So total within these red areas of 581,000 ounces, of which basically 500,000 is there. And the Nugget and Stander, which are high grade, are these little pits that we estimated. This is in 2021. So we haven't done an estimate since then. And the reason we did the 2021 estimate was just to prove to you investors there actually was gold in the bedrock. And all of our drilling so far has been 100 meters to depth of 100 meters, so 300 foot down from surface. And so all this is skimming. We're at surface, finding things at surface and drilling them to understand them. That has been the 10-year evolution of what we've done so far, basically.
Right.
And so that brings me to today, from a So this box is 4.5 to 5 kilometers long along the what I call the El Dorado Fault, which is a composite fault of several different individual thrusts that are each gold mineralized. And so we have from a plan view, we have a multiple stacked gold veins coming across the strike of it in potential or multiple stacked gold zones. And Lone Star would be one. There's another one we think exists in here, but we're not sure of, that has these numbers are in grams per ton. So 74 is
Sure.
whatever, 2.5 ounces.
Yeah.
I think there's one there. Then the Nugget and Stander represents one. And then there's another one down here called Gay Gulch. And so there's stacked thrust sequences that have gold mineralization along them. And we can hit multiple zones if we drill deep enough holes. And I've been criticized in the last several years for not drilling deep holes.
Yeah.
And that's been the wish list of you investors.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, I didn't know enough about the rocks we'd be drilling to go drill a crazy deep hole. It would have been just blind luck without any guidance. And
Waste of money.
Yes, 99.99% chance of wasting the money. Now I've got a way better idea on it. And so this is a longitudinal, so it's look as if you're looking sideways at it all. And the highest point up here is the ridge above El Dorado Creek. But as you go down this way, El Dorado Creek would sit right about there along these low dots. And that vertical distance in here is 500 vertical meters. Every one of these dots, again, these dots are labeled in numbers of grams per ton in outcrop or drill hole. So all of this is nearly 5 kilometers. Well, it is over 5 kilometers length from there to there. And we have 1 ounce or better in outcrop over 5 kilometers in a total of, I believe it's almost 30 different individual showings. Most of them have not been drilled. So what we've done is in these boxes, this is the Lone Star box. So remembering that Lone Star, so these are all being compressed on top of each other. Lone Star is over here, but it's up on the highest part of the ridge above El Dorado Creek.
Much lower grades there.
And it's lower grade. Yeah, it's 0.75, 0.8 grams up there, about 500,000 ounces contained in that, 0.8. And then the Stander zone, those two little pits that are here, Nugget and Stander, totally, there's not that much in it, but that runs 1.5 grams remembering this is just short, shallow holes. And before we knew that there was high grade continuity. So this comes from 4 years ago now, those resources. And so now what we're looking at, and we've modeled structurally, and we've used, as I said in the news release, we used oriented core, we used a whole bunch of different analytical tools to connect some of these showings together across this entire distance. And there's no drilling anywhere around them or in between. And also, if we drill deeper holes, they're stacked potentially, and we can reach maybe 2 of them at least with deeper holes. So we get not one, but maybe the opportunity to hit a second one in one hole, which will be a relief to some of our individual investors who've been pounding me since day one, 10 years ago, to drill that particular hole. And we will get to that.
Well, Peter,
that's happening this year.
It's an orogenic system, and we know that orogenic systems go very
goes
so,
to that's right.
I guess, but at the same time, you don't want to blindly, and you've gained an awful lot of intelligence over the last 3 or 4 years, bringing in some of the experts. I mean, you've had experience also on orogenic deposits before, but now you've got some of the best people in the world.
And specifically, so there's like the famous orogenic deposits are the ones in the Archean. So, Dester Porcupine Fault, the stuff in mid-continent, those are, they're old, they're multi-billion-year-old things. These, like California Mother Lode, like the Klondike, like much of the stuff in Mexico, are cordilleran, so they're new, they're
Mhm.
recent in the the Earth history perspective. So
Sure.
this gold mineralization is 100 million years old, I suspect,
Yeah.
and so it's got different tectonics, and the exploration strategies have to be different, and they're way pickier,
Hmm.
I gotta say.
Hmm.
And so this is technically harder. And again, that reflects, and it took me 10 years to get to the point where we are.
Hmm.
I would show you our analytical models now. They're high-end computer programs that help
Hmm.
us
Hmm.
visualize this now. But man, are they ever compelling. This is super. This is fun. It's going to be a great season. I know we're going to drill some really nice material.
Hmm.
Just I can't wait to turn the drill on.
How many
And
meters are you going to drill, Peter? And will you
the
be drilling obviously between these areas that you're showing on this longitudinal?
yes, well, we're starting again at the standard, but we have a new look at that. So we're going to be off the end of it, going this way,
Hmm.
in particular. And this, anyway, we have another model which says that it goes right the heck out here.
Hmm.
Um, so we're going to see. The objective, though, is widely spaced drilling. So ideally, we're 400 meters apart on holes. Um, we'll probably start with 200-meter spacing, but I'm trying to get to 400 so that I can cover this entire box length
Okay,
this year,
this
or
year.
at least in the early next year.
And so your aim, at least initially, isn't to prove any kind of 43101
No.
resource. It's more to get the big picture and what you might have here. And then later on,
The
probably closer space drilling, possibly.
I am less interested in 43101 from that, because it's kind of an advertising looking back. What I want to show is like what this is the Great Bear story as well.
Hmm.
Great Bear spent those guys, as Great Bear before Kinross bought it, spent 10 years in Red Lake trying to figure out the Red Lake Gold Belt. And that particular arm of the Red Lake is also structurally complicated and horribly frustrating when you drill a hole.
Hmm.
And it took them 10 years. And you see that you can look at their news releases too. The flip of the switch over like 1 year, they started to hit a bit more.
Yeah,
And then suddenly by year 3, they were hitting all the time
yeah,
because they understood the structure. I'm at this point now here too.
great.
And then Kinross came in and said, Jesus, that's great. Look at that. They drilled Kinross, or somebody asked to drill really deep holes to prove there was gold at a kilometer depth below the surface.
Yes.
And that proved to the majors conceptually that, yeah, you get lots of gold near surface, but it's an orogenic gold system. Yes, it actually does. It goes to a kilometer. So a major can buy it knowing that they can produce right away, but they can also spend 30 years in the district, and it's not just a one, like a 5 year in and done.
Right. So your
The
deepest
Klondike
hole,
has that potential. I've been saying that for a decade now. This
yes, you
this
have.
can accommodate a major, can actually build a major. The scope is here to create one.
So
But this is something that should be of interest to them.
your deepest hole this year will be what, Peter?
By 750 meters downhole,
Okay.
which would probably be about 500 meters vertical, and
Hmm.
we're debating on where to drill that from. So it might be mid-slope here. It could actually be down at the bottom. We'll
So
see.
really, the idea here is discovery holes and expand and prove that you have over this 5 kilometer area gold mineralization. That's
Yes.
and then the continuity of which a higher confidence level later, but that's not what you're concerned about now. You want to be able to see the potential for something big here. five
Yes.
million ounces for starts.
Well, and what we show in our models is that most of these dots are connected
Hmm.
to themselves. So if I can connect, and they're like, these dots are one off in the middle of nowhere, and this distance is half or 3/4 of a kilometer,
Hmm.
whatever. So there's nothing in between this and that.
Yeah.
And actually dial is whatever, sure. This probably connects to that. It needs a hole, but I don't want to drill our approach so far has been drilling 50-meter centers
Mm-hmm.
because we're trying to, again, we're in the confused end of the geology, not understanding the structure per se. So let's drill close space centers and
Right.
figure it out. We've done that.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's time to prove that these things do connect,
Mm-hmm.
and we can do that with broad-based holes, I believe.
All right. It's
And
pretty.
that's the program. So we got 20, to answer the question, we have 2,500 or so meters to go right now, and
Mhm.
that's going to take 30 days or the first shift. And we have the drillers booked off for 30 days
Mhm.
while we sit and think about what we just learned drilling these widely spaced holes to make sure we don't go and blow ourselves up. And then we'll bring the drill back and we'll go again. And we'll see where we get to for the end of this year.
Mhm.
So potentially there's 2,500 meters now and another 4 to 5,000 meters towards the end of the last two turnarounds
Mhm.
in terms of time.
Yeah.
So I'm focused right now on 2,500 meters,
Right.
honestly.
Right.
That's the important bit right now
Right.
ahead.
Right. And you can space that out over the 5 kilometers you figure to.
This is going to be our target area for a while. This we've selected this because this is I have the most information on it from a historical perspective. This length right there produced 8 million ounces of gold from his, like the old timey people up to about 1920, from 1898 to 1920, there's 8 million ounces came out of here that was eroded from the hill adjacent.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is the richest stretch of the Klondike beyond by multiples of
Yeah.
any.
Yeah.
And so we know now that the erosion, the gold has been eroded directly from there. There's not been any glaciation here ever.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so the gold came directly from the rock beside it.
Mhm.
And so we know that the standard zone is eroding directly into the El Dorado Creek right below it there too. And we're finding gold that we can type from here. Anyway, so sure. Let's stay in the rich part and let's look at the roots. It's an orogenic system. These things should continue way down here.
Mhm.
And let's get some gold in the box, basically.
Peter, your resource of 581,000 ounces, most of which come from that lower grade area.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
up here outside of our basically the area we're exploring.
right outside of what but I'd just be curious to know that was factored at $1,700 gold. We're looking at a price that's touched
Yes.
twice that just the other day. We're
Yeah.
slightly below $3,300 or so today. I don't know if you even care to think about it, but I'm sure you must have thought about it. What would there be much of an increase or not with
Yes,
higher
there
grade?
would be.
There would be. Okay.
Yeah.
You
It's
probably are not focused on that now, as you say, you're focused more on the higher grade area.
I've previously presented this as like, okay, at 2 million ounces, really, if we get a 2 million ounce resource, that would be globally relevant and, give the majors enough that they would be interested in us.
Yeah, you'd be on the radar.
But I've in talking to our advisor, who is an ex-Newmont
Yeah.
fellow,
Mm-hmm.
a senior guy for the goal. He's going, no, look, basically if you do 5 million and you can outline a volume that notionally has 5 million ounces in it, then you don't have to worry about it. You don't even have to make the argument. You just post the slide and everybody will be interested. And I'm going, well, we have that. We can do that with the money that we can raise. And so
Peter,
we don't have enough money in the treasury. We are going to be raising more to
yeah.
do this program, but
Mm-hmm.
this is aimed at basically I guess I'd characterize it as having Klondike Gold grow up out of the junior explorer target phase to here is a relatively mature exploration investment that's worthy of somebody bigger coming and taking it with a substantial amount of new money to the next level, which would be production.
All
And
right.
so
Well,
that's where we're going.
all right. Well, sort of then I guess investors should really just be watching for your news coming out this summer. Are the labs backed up as they were a couple of years ago, or how long does it take to get results these days,
We
Peter?
we we changed labs, and so our new lab for gold gives us gold turnaround of a month.
Hmm.
Now they're 3 months delayed. It was 3 or 4 months it took us for gold. We would in the previous lab, but we get anyway. In this case, we're missing the trace element chemistry for 3 or 4 months, but we get gold right away.
All
So
right.
again, I'm happy with that.
And
Two other quick points, I
yeah,
guess, Jay,
sure.
just for. And I'm going to show you this because this is a news release at the beginning. This is only a month or so ago. We had an asset, which is a placer mine, right? It's one of the, and it may be one of the largest undeveloped placer deposits, but we had a 65,000 ounce placer gravel. We sold it for not quite $10 million, potentially over 6 years, but that we get paid on basically on a scale that's linked to how much they produce on the property.
Mhm.
And that's the gold price, though, has doubled since we negotiated this, which
Yeah,
means we're going to get paid this number, 10 million bucks, probably twice as fast as we were envisioning when we signed the deal.
wonderful.
And so they're out working starting now. I'm going to be visiting and helping as much as I can. It's in Klondike Gold's interest to have them do as well as possible.
Sure.
But this provides us with basically hard dollar capital for a bunch of years.
Hmm.
And then the last thing, just as a crazy thing for particularly your American listeners, I've presented this at the Houston Petroleum Club a couple of times, but just in general, our Klondike Gold property is the equivalent area of 63 Texas counties, which include the entirety of the Texas Permian Basin. And with, my stated gold potential endowment in the Klondike of 50 million ounces, this is based on old, gold numbers, doesn't really matter. But this would work out to, if you're owning a share in us, you're owning a share in the shot at 2.5% of all Permian oil and gas production since it's been produced, forever, right? And so there's a potential, as I kind of alluded to as well, for us to be a Barry Corp size gold company. And Barry was one of the original Permian, they were one of the discoverers of oil in Texas.
Hmm.
Bottom line. We currently trade at 7 cents a share. So as a shot,
Yeah.
I've said this to the guys in the petroleum club is like, I would love to have had the shot at owning something that could provide me a 2.5% interest for over 100 years
Yeah.
in the Permian in Texas
Yeah.
with a company. And that really never existed. But here we go with something similar. That's the same kind of equivalent size as what we're looking at, I think.
All right. So that's pretty exciting. I mean, that's what
It
you
is.
call blue sky, I guess, and lots of it. So how soon the drills start turning up there, Peter?
I'm I'm surprised you haven't heard them come in yet, but anywhere they're moving,
Yeah.
and so it'll be Monday morning or sooner.
Uh-huh.
We'll actually have core. We'll have core.
Wow. Okay. And then another month after that to get some results, perhaps.
That would be the first, yeah, the first hole.
So we're looking at
It'll be a little. The first one always takes the longest because we're working out the kinks. It's not
yeah.
like an instant turn on thing. People got to find the rubber gloves and the safety gear first.
I understand. So we might get some results. So June, early, maybe
Oh, yeah, we'll see it by the end of June. Yeah, sure.
we end of June.
At the latest.
Peter, it's a very exciting possibility here with 7.3 cents actually, 7 in U.S. money today.
Great.
So thank you very much for spending time with us to update our viewers and my subscribers and beyond that, because we'll be sharing this with a larger audience as well. So thank you very much. Look forward to keeping up with you and all these well anticipated, at least exciting drill results. We want to see some big numbers this year, possibly.
Me too. I appreciate talking to you, Jay. It's always a pleasure, and you and I can both look forward to hopefully really nice high grade coming soon.
All right, with $3,300 gold. So
Yes.
not too shabby. All right, thanks so much, Peter. Thanks again. We'll look to keep up with you going forward into the year.
Thanks very much, Jay. Take care.
You're welcome.